I'd like to call the May 10th budget meeting to order.
One quick thing, make sure, since we don't have microphones, you have to really speak up to project. For anyone that's on the WebEx later, and for the recording.
And thank you for all coming. This is our first finally all in our new crib, if you will.
Jamie, is Jamie gonna call in?
Is he going to call?
He said he's going to be a bit late. He apparently he lost his cell phone in a taxi, and that's been a whole.
He's just sitting there seeing pictures all day long.
From his girlfriend's cell phone. But welcome all, and so glad we're here. And we do have a quorum, I show, with everyone except for Council Member Jamie Lyons. So he may join us later. Is that correct?
Correct.
So we won't have to talk about voting via remote.
No, and you guys won't be voting on anything tonight anyway. So.
Okay.
We're pretty plugged in. I can see what I can. I'm plugged something.
No. I'm saying my password. It's just every time.
This is about as best I can do.
Whenever you get an opportunity, I need to get into the Wi-Fi.
Give me 1 second.
Some small things that it's okay. I forgot totally about it.
While I'm doing this, does anyone else need access to the Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Okay, I'll jump in.
Like everybody.
Well, I automatically get into it or something. What am I doing?
You're smarter than you are.
Huh? I'm not?
See, you're not so you're on Wi-Fi.
All right, well, while we're all doing this, can we just have Christina start talking?
Go ahead. We need to adopt the agenda still.
Okay. I need to help adoption and the adoption agenda. Do we have any changes or all right? I need a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Christina.
You're up.
So I'm going to go over the budget really quickly because nothing's changed since the last time I was in. Other than some minor things. Basically, we have a revenue of $2.3 million, expenditure of $2.3 million. It's a budget, the balance. It's a balanced budget with a $50,000 contingency budgeted in. At the public hearing, which you guys will schedule in the council meeting tonight, we will go over the budget message in detail for the public and answer any questions for them that they have at that time. Aside from that, I'm not really going to go through detail line by line unless y'all want me to.
We've already.
Not unless anything's changed.
No, nothing's changed. We are expected to, if you look at the estimated actual for 2021, 2022, we are expected to put back about $250,000 in the fund balance. And that's due to us being conservative in our spending and being conservative in our revenues. We've actually received a little bit more revenue than we had budgeted for, and we spent less money than we expected to. So props to staff on that. Any questions?
See, Joe, all our labor is to save this money.
Yeah. Can you say that clearly again? We were conservative.
We were very conservative.
And have an additional 250 we weren't expecting.
That's correct.
250,000.
We are projected to put 250 back in fund balance.
It's 10 grand to cut down trees.
We didn't cut them down, we were taking.
Oh, they're gone.
We didn't have to cut them, they fell.
We're going to cut out there.
Sunday.
We're not-
Surprised to see them cut the tree on Mother's Day. That was quick.
I did promise you guys a copy of the CPI, which is this thing right here. USD is all averages. It looks like it's about 8.5%. Consumer price index. This was the latest report that was released in April. across the board, all things have gone up 8.5% since March of last year.
Okay, sit right there.
8.5%.
Any questions?
Yeah, why didn't my pay go up 8.5%?
All right, the biggest thing that I want to talk about tonight is this sheet in front of you. It looks like this. This is the Powell record sheet. We talked about this briefly at the London retreat. However, there were some inaccuracies in this, and we went back and changed some things. You all did ask us to take the fund balance appropriation of $115,000 out of fund balance as it's stated here and as it's stated in our budget that we adopted, amended. We did do a $115,000 fund balance appropriation from general fund to pay for the roundabout, and I'll go through in just a second. But while we didn't take it and put it back in the fund balance, while we didn't take it, put it back in the fund balance, and then take it back out from Powell, we did not do that. So I'll explain that in just a second. Looking at fiscal year 21-22, at the very top of the page, from the prior year forward. We had rollover forward, we had a $9,000 appropriation that remained in the Powell reserve. That's what we had at the end of the year. Since then, we have received a total of $70,000 plus $97,000 in appropriations. We also closed out a fund balance reserve fund that had $99,000 in it. That was marked for roads. So to date, it looks like we have approximately $277,000 that's sitting in fund balance for Powell. Any questions on that? Y'all see where that is on the chart? Okay. Moving down to the expenditures. In this year, we expect to spend about $89,000. Majority of that being the $50,000 that was carried over from last year for curb and gutter repairs. They didn't finish all the repairs last year, so we had to carry that over into this year's budget. There's been some minor emergency repairs that we've made throughout the year. We just coded that in that $89,000. We also went ahead and estimated an additional $20,000 that we'll spend in the next couple of months, which is probably not going to happen, but we just wanted to be conservative and let you know that we may spend some more money in there. Any questions on that this morning? So all that being said, we're projecting to have $188,000 to remain in Powell reserve at the end of this fiscal year. That number carries over at the top for fiscal year 22-23. You see that 188? We're projecting a $71,000 appropriation in both of our allotments. The reason being that $97,000 that you see there for January of 21 in this fiscal year, there was a one-time change from the legislature due to some COVID funding. We do not expect to receive that again. So that $97,000 was just a one-time increase that we would see unless something changes drastically. Again, trying to be conservative in the estimates here. We think 71 is actually a really good amount. So at the end of next fiscal year, assuming we spend nothing, we would have $330,000 sitting in fund balance for Powell. However, if you go down to the bottom, it shows you the expenditures that we expect to receive or spend next year. There's $27,000 in preventative maintenance. That's on the preventative schedule that we will approve tonight, and that is for Greenway fog seal. The next $30,000 in emergency repairs. This is what we've been spending pretty much annually in emergency repairs. That could go from anything from potholes to curb and gutter to stormwater cleanouts to sidewalks that have to be repaired. So that's what you see in emergency repairs across the board from basically next year on over for the next 10 years. Going down to the roundabout overrun, the last overrun we had for these projects was about 150. And since this project has gone out and been amended 4 times now, it's increased over $1 million. So we expect to see some construction overruns. 200,000 is probably a little under what it'll actually be. I spoke with them today, and they're saying about 10%. The project itself right now is about 200 or 2.3 million, so it's probably going to be more closer to 230, 250 in overruns that we will likely see. And if things keep going up, I mean, that number's just going to keep increasing. It's very unlikely to go down. The STIP match is that CRTPO funding that we have to start paying for. That's for the Greenway. The loop that we keep talking about, the $1.7 million grant. So if you go all the way down to the bottom, you'll see we're in the negative at that point. We're negative 24,000.
So it'll probably be more like 60,000 of the additional overrun from the
It probably will.
program.
And that's without taking on any more oil.
Yes, yeah. So as you see for the next several years beyond that, you see us going into the negative.
A lot.
Most of it being with the CRTPO grant, having to match that $500,000. If that wasn't there, those numbers would disappear. But I will say, this does not include, like you said, any new roads that we're taking on. It also does not include any roads that we've already taken on since 2019, because the pavement preservation study that we have was done in 2019. It only included roads up to that point. So Hunter can help me on a couple of these, but the preserve we've taken over since then.
We just took over Broadmoor, the preserve.
Firethorn.
Tullamore.
No, that was done prior to 2019. There was one other. Yes, Courtyards was the other one.
And Bell Road will be on there soon.
Be probably next year.
Marvin Gardens will be on there soon. So all of those things that we've got in the works, it's not included in any of these estimates because we didn't have the opportunity at that point in time to say what it was going to cost to Fox Hill those. We keep talking about taking over Newtown Road, maybe some of the Marvin School. It doesn't include any of that either. So just keep that in mind. As DOT relinquishes more roads, it's not going to take those into consideration. We will have to do another pavement preservation study for that. So
bottom line is we need more money from somewhere.
yes, we either need more money from somewhere or we need to figure out a way not to take Powell funding for the CRTPO match.
What did we do with that 250 that we saved from last year? Is that in the budget or is that?
250 we saved from last year.
Yeah.
You mean that we're projecting to put back in the fund balance? We won't do that until the close of the audit, so we won't know that number for sure until November-ish of this year. So,
Is that something that we could apply to this deficit?
yeah, absolutely.
I just don't want to take all of that. We have we're clearly going to have other things that come up.
Right.
Plus, this number, just like what Christina said, it doesn't even take into consideration, like, my roads haven't been taken over. Like, like, there are lots of neighborhoods out there that still need to be taken over and then start maintained.
Oh, I agree. I'm just
So-
looking at already this year we got a $60,000, $70,000 deficit after we pay the overrun. So
Yeah.
that's at least to help kind of cover
Oh, yeah, no,
this
for sure.
year's,
Yeah, for sure.
you know. But
I'm
we're-
just saying, we can't just rely on that, because that money's gonna go away quick.
Oh, yeah.
We had some conversations earlier on about how Bill and we thought that we were going to be able to, move forward and project out. Let's be in the clear. A lot of that didn't take into consideration any of the roundabout matches that we had. We were not taking that out of how Bill, we thought it was going to come out of fund balance. So taking that out of fund balance kind of brings that number down even further. And then that overrun, we just weren't projecting it out to be that much. Also, if you recall, there's been some conversations about sidewalks that we weren't prepared to take over. Majority of the sidewalks in the most recent project, the most recent developments, they've been under a maintenance agreement. For example, Weddington Chase is one. No, Weddington Chase.
Weddington Chase, Firethorn, those two are the main ones that don't because they were taken over by DOT.
Amber Meadows is a new development. More than likely, that's one that has a maintenance agreement where they maintain their sidewalks.
Yes, we did.
Firethorn, all the ones that we took over from DOT, they're absent of maintenance agreements, and the sidewalks are our responsibility. And that's a very costly expense. We've spent, I can't tell you exactly how much we've spent, but it's been a good chunk of change, upwards of probably 30,000-40,000 on that since we've taken over.
You got one big one that, I'm Short Road,
Yeah,
that comes up
that's
there.
a good one. Yeah.
I do that still now.
And it's not in good shape. Just because the roots
You're
all
exactly right,
trees.
yeah. So, I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but I just want y'all to look at this and think strategically about how we're gonna fund this, or what we're gonna do to kind of reduce these expectations or bring in some other funding.
I'll save my comments for the regular meeting, about this whole thing, what I had projected with with taking over roads, the prior council, with,
And I don't know what the intent was when roads were taken over. I do know, I wasn't here then, I do know that they had started with cul-de-sacs only. I believe from what I've been told, and don't quote me on this, but I don't know if the council thought that turning and gutter, stormwater systems that existed, any of that stuff was.
it was the opinion of one, the gutters were taken just to gain that this the former council was played, and that's why we got off kilter with the state, because they said if you're gonna receive tile bill funds or whatever, you have to take over the roads. So what we did is took over nothing but cul-de-sacs. That was it, because they didn't get any traffic, and that was very easy to maintain. Well, by law, that was legal, but it really ticked off the state, which kind of put us in bad graces with them, in my view, but now that we're because they said we can do that.
So we did, as you'll see in your agenda packet for the regular meeting, we did amend the road resurfacing schedule. And again, I say road resurfacing, this is just a pavement preservation. It's only fog seal. It doesn't include any type of full depth reclamation or anything with roads that have major repairs that are needed, like big potholes where we've got to kind of cut things up and patch them up. It doesn't include any of that. It's just merely fog sealing. So just keep that in mind, is that we've got a 10-year plan, but it doesn't really include anything much more than just preserving the life a little bit further of the existing roads.
Real quick, I'm going to make a note to the clerk. Jamie, it looks like has just joined us. At what time is the meeting?
It's 5:18.
If we approve anything, to vote remotely, we need a motion.
They're not voting on anything tonight, are
Not
they?
voting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Welcome, Jamie. We miss you.
Jerk.
Send pictures.
Farm Creek. What roads have you taken over in that?
Cul-de-sacs there.
Just-
Like two,
Where?
Martin Creek. We have like 2 cul-de-sacs there. Those are the
Yeah, I
first
think
ones.
right under where there was going to be a gate.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to.
They're in red clay too.
So then we don't have, because if we take over some of the roads, because some of the GPS runs tractor and trailers and things in that subdivision.
Oh, wow.
When they come down town short, but in the back, they go around.
Going through like Whitfield and.
Yeah.
Jamie, can you turn your camera off, please? So rude.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Thank you. Just kidding. Put it back on. I wanna see.
Show the
Well,
sunset.
if we own it, we can keep those tractor trailers off.
And that, because that was, some of the people there, their traffic is not cars, it's tractor and trailers and everything that's coming through.
Yeah.
And then they said that they stopped, or somebody said GPS routes them through the.
Where's this at?
Marvin Creek.
Well, they're using the wrong GPS, they're using truck GPS, which
Well-
doesn't route you through neighborhoods. Right,
That's-
that's state roads.
Well, see, that is a state road.
Yeah, but state highways, let's put it that way.
It's a state road, it has a number. That's the problem, when they came in, they did all those state roads.
So a question I have is when we, a long time ago, decided to enter into this commitment, and we've got 16 miles of road, are we committed to take on anyone?
But, well, if you're a taxpayer, you're paying the same as everyone else, and your roads in your neighborhood aren't, in your environment aren't taken up. Would you be a little bit upset?
I would, and that's one of mine. That's my neighborhood. We would have taken everything.
Yeah. So anyone, and the argument was before the previous council, it was just ironic that 2 of the neighborhoods that were first were council members that were on.
Council members, planning board.
And it just got, you know, to the point where I argued that we shouldn't do it because at 5 cents, you can't afford it. And as we're seeing, as we get on, we're going to be in deficits. So we've got to find some way to make that up. You can't be, like to say the word half pregnant here. So,
You're right or not.
This is, I mean, I agree, I think everybody that didn't get their own state number would be very upset if they don't eventually. But, you know, the reality of it is in our tax rate, we can't afford to take on a new road department.
well, we can't not do it. That's the problem.
Right.
You can't afford it, so that means you gotta look at other revenue sources and how you get there. Because at the end of the day, the state told us we can't even get to secondary roads. Those would be roads like Newtown Road and stuff like that, let alone neighborhoods. So that's why that was the biggest drive for council, because we were an affluent community and our roads should be, you know, our responsibility, and we're not gonna wait for DOT to get the roads done. That was the argument back then, so.
Well, and rightfully, the cul-de-sacs should be gravel before the state got to them. I mean, that's not a good plan. But it's still, it's a big sticky neck out for our village with our revenue sources. So you really, I mean, they were between a rock and a hard place, and we are still at this point, because now we're in, there's no way out.
I've talked to a lot of other communities, and it's like they have their trucks and their service, and there's a department of their, but you look at their tax rate, it's in the 50, 40, 50, 60 cent range versus the 5 cent range. So 5 cents, you just, again, that was the argument. The fact that we're doing, I think the fact that we're doing waste hauling now, and now we can control the trucks and that, there's bonuses and things that we can do to kind of limit the damage that's on it, because we are almost all built out, so you're not going to get the construction traffic that you should. But
So, I just handed you the CIP that was approved, just so y'all see the second row is where the commitments that we have projected out for that step. And those numbers back, put into the Power plan. So that's where those numbers come from. And that's derived directly from what we agreed with the CRTPO.
so the 524, 24, 25, the marker would we get some of that back eventually? No,
This is our match.
this is our match.
We actually have to front more than this. We have to front 1.7 million, yeah. But we only calculated in here what we actually need, because it's just a cash flow, which will be fine. It'll be a cash flow table. We've got to front money and then get reimbursed.
I mean, the other option to consider is doing a bond. You know, if you really wanted to take over roads and do a one-time bond to finish out the rest of the 16 miles, we looked at that years ago, and it can be done. It's, you know, it has to go to a vote, I believe. And then, but then you're fully in it, and it's just about maintaining. So.
But when we looked at it, we ended up like not then being able to spend all of Cabo funds, which I'm not sure that that would be the case anymore. With her gutter, sidewalk, stormwater.
Oh, because you have to spend
Drainage.
so much. of
10
it.
allotments, yeah, 5 years.
We'd have a really nice one all the time, if that's the case. Or we should.
Lock ceiling every year.
So I know this kind of links to the items that are in your packet.
We have to spend the money.
I'm sorry.
This does kind of link to the agenda item in your packet for the vehicle tax. I don't know if y'all want to just hold this and we'll find money in one account that we've got now.
Where are we getting the 569 for next year? 569.
Oh, we're not,
22.
we're not talking about that. Right now, don't quote me on this, but right now, I believe we have about $50,000 left in agreements.
For 22, 23?
The period in capital reserve, so, or capital, so $40,000, 40 to 50, somewhere in there, to that 569 is what we've got, and then that, once that money's gone, it's gone.
And what are we spending on the officers right now?
40-ish, 40, 50-ish.
I'm just trying to think where we could draw from funds, and that's another option. But sensitive, but
Any other questions on budget or any of this?
Nope. So we're gonna call for the public hearing for the end of the month and approve the budget then, tomorrow,
May 26th.
6 PM meeting.
that's a Thursday.
Yeah,
Yes.
6.
If y'all don't have any questions, that's all that I have to report from the
That's
budget
it.
standpoint.
Let's see, we got our training.
Yeah, that is, good. Anybody have any questions for Christina?
Jamie says he can barely hear what we're saying. It's pretty garbled, but he doesn't know if there's anything we can do about
Do we have another mic?
it.
Tell him thank you for volunteering all the positions we put out.
I really don't. That's a really high quality. That's a
You as an extension.
Let's go ahead and then go to adjourn this meeting.
Yeah, we'll need a motion then if no other questions to adjourn the budget meeting.
So moved.